It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. And look who we have with us today. RJ, thank you so much for joining me.
Adam, I'm so happy to be here. The pleasure is all of mine.
And by the way, that little turn that you just did, do I need a spinny chair too, along with a new fashion sense?
Look, let me tell you something. Your fashion sense is impeccable. You can never go wrong. Come on now. Black is everything. That's right. So, yeah, but you do need a spinning chair.
Okay. So I'm okay with the black shirt, but maybe a spinny chair. That's fair. That's fair. Well, RJ, again, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. You know, I thought that this would be really fun. Normally, I do the Real Housewives of Potomac on Monday, the day after. Right. But this is fun because you have an insight that a lot of us viewers don't have. You know some of the women from the Real Housewives of Potomac, and who better to do this with?
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I want to say really quick, thank you so much, Muriel, for the super sticker. We appreciate you. And with that being said, RJ, are you ready to jump right in?
I am ready to jump in.
Okay. So this reunion was kind of interesting to me because we had the whole season of season 5 kind of play out with really one main storyline, which was Candace and Monique. So this was kind of the reunion that everybody's been waiting for. It's like we could have skipped the whole season and just got to this reunion because we wanted to see what was going to happen again when Monique and Candace came face to face.
Yes.
Okay. So it was a little stressful, but great. I want to start off also by saying, you know, I know that Gizelle was saying she wasn't necessarily a big fan of the whole yellow scheme, but I thought all of the ladies looked beautiful. Ashley Darby, I don't know what she was doing with that dress, but she still looked beautiful.
All of them looked amazing. They really, really did. I mean, yellow is a hard color scheme to pull off, but I feel like they did a phenomenal job, every single one of them, honestly. I do.
I agree. I do have, and again, I don't have any fashion sense, but I do have to ask you one question. Okay. Robin's hair.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a new trend going into 2021, but I mean, honestly, I feel like they her.
You liked it?
I felt like it worked. It was something new. I've never seen it. I've never seen that kind of I don't know, sketching or what, you know, feathering on somebody's hair. But I think that it worked for her. I think that it really gave her some sass.
Well, you know, the internet is so messy. And I was showing my fiance yesterday. I said, these people can't catch a break. And it was a photo of Robin and her hair. And you see the marks. And then there was a photo of a tire mark. And then they were like, did Robin's hair get ran over by a tire, asking for a friend? I was like, you guys are awful, man.
You know, the internet is undefeated, Adam. You know that.
Well, guys, 157 in the room. Go ahead, hit that like button. Let's get more eyes in here for RJ. And I want to kind of move on and go through step by step of how we went through this reunion. Starting off with, of course, and we'll get to Monique and her binder in a minute. But Ashley Darby and Candace, there was a little bit of conflict there. Gizelle got called out for her whole fraud relationship with Jamal Bryant, and Monique came with receipts.
Yes.
Karen has really come into her own. She doesn't let anybody shade her anymore. Pick a topic and we'll go.
Exactly. Let's start with Gizelle's fraudulent relationship.
Okay. So there was a lot of speculation this whole season that Gizelle was, in fact, kind of in cahoots with her ex, Jamal Bryant, trying to save her position on the Real Housewives of Potomac. Mm-hmm. So with getting back with her ex-husband, this creates somewhat of a storyline for her. But one thing that I've always known to be true is you can't force a kid to be an actor. And every time Gizelle would have these moments with her children, with her daughters, and she would be talking to them about their dad, their faces just read like, Mom, why are we here? Why are you doing this right now? We're not into it.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's sad. You know, I feel really, really sad for the kids. I mean, because regardless of what the public may be privy to, as far as Jamal's and Gizelle's relationship, the whole fact of the matter is that the kids are showing us that they disapprove. The kids are showing us that they have some hesitancy to this father and mom relationship. They don't seem to want to go along with the whole narrative of mommy and daddy are back together and happily back together. And it's telling. And yeah, I mean, it's I really feel bad for them. I do. I really feel bad for them because they have to deal with this at school. They have to deal with this with their friends. So I mean, it kind of sucks.
So I agree with you completely. Especially, they almost kind of give me Riley Burris vibes in the sense that when Candy makes Riley film, Riley's incredibly uncomfortable. And some of the Housewives children, some of them aren't uncomfortable. Some of them like live for the moment to be on camera.
Teresa's kids.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Teresa's kids. It's just interesting to me to watch. And then we see the moment in the season where Jamal buys his daughters a restaurant. My only thing is, one, now I want to know if this is true and that was a real situation, that if he actually bought them a restaurant. And then two, are all of the other baby mamas going to be knocking on his door asking where's a restaurant for our kid?
Let me tell you, I don't know, based off my experiences with, these men who have multiple baby mothers, somebody is going to get the top prize position. Somebody is going to be put on a pedestal. So I feel like, the Bryants, the kids, they are that group that are going to be put on the pedestal with Jamal. And then the other kids are just kind of going to, fall to the wayside, unfortunately. That's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, okay.
I haven't heard any other restaurants being bought for his other kids. So
right.
I can just go by factual.
No, that makes sense. And it was interesting to watch because Andy is like sitting there letting Gizelle talk, and she's like, how are you and Jamal? We're good. How's this? And she's sitting there and she's continuing on with this narrative that they are perfectly happy together. Their situation is this modern day kind of new dynamic of a relationship that they're trying to navigate the best way possible. And then boom, Monique opens up the binder. And this is the moment that I was just like, no. And when she opened up the binder, I thought she was first of all, I love Monique and her tab saying last lady. I mean, they're all so shady. But when she opens up her tab to the last lady and then she pulls out this like pamphlet of text messages, what do you say to that?
Okay. You could say what Gizelle was trying to say, and that is brush it off. You can say, oh, I'm not listening to, what she's saying. Oh, this don't mean anything to me, until there's some validity to the situation, until you have to confirm with said host Andy phone numbers.
Oh, that was painful. Yeah. So when he asked her, he said, is that the phone number? And she keeps going while they're talking too. She keeps reading through the text messages, and Jamal was saying that this is reality. It's not real. And then continuing on, you see Giselle's face and it looks just kind of stuck.
It was stuck.
It was.
And in that moment, it was heightened for the ladies who were on the other side. So Robin pitched in, Candace pitched in, because everything was so heightened and intense for Gizelle. She was in the hot seat. So then you begin to see them trying to come in to kind of save her. And at the end of the day, Monique was so fixated on revealing what was inside of that binder in the last lady section that they had to stop talking. They had to stop talking, and all mouths were zipped after that phone number came out. And it's just, it's embarrassing. I mean, I felt kind of embarrassed for her.
Yeah, because she just got played out on national television.
Because, I mean, she's always tried to defend this relationship. And the moment came where she just couldn't defend that number. I mean, it was true. And even then, though, she still kind of, played it off, and she didn't think of it as much. But there's going to be more. So.
No, I completely agree with you. I do want to say one thing real quick, but before I do, I want to thank Natalia and Tamara for the super chat, super stickers. Guys, we have 300 in the room. Go ahead and hit that like button. Let's see if we can get more eyes in here for RJ, our special guest. By the way, I'm loving having you already, so this is great.
I love
but with Candace, though, she was really trying hard to shut Monique down. Before she was trying to almost talk over her and shut her down. And Monique sat there the whole time. And I'm sitting here watching, waiting for Monique to give us this extreme reaction or kind of lash out. She didn't. And I saw something that you posted on your Instagram where it was this guy talking about the reunion. And he said they were all waiting for Monique to do X, Y, and Z, but she didn't. She was waiting to respond.
Yes. Yes.
And she was.
Yes. I mean, you know, Monique that was the interesting thing about it. That was a wow factor. Even though Monique did not, you know, jump out and verbally attack Candace or Robin, it was still a wow factor because what we saw was a composed, calm Monique. Her hands weren't shaking while she was flipping through the book. She was not stuttering. I mean, it was just so composed. It was so epic. It was almost like she was just like, this is what it is. And every time you guys try to deviate from what I'm saying, I'm going to keep flipping the pages still, and I'm going to continue to read what it is that was given to me. And I'm going to shut this down.
Oh. And she comes again, she says, I have receipts for every single person in this circle, which was interesting to me because, you know, I would think that being in a situation like this, a reunion where they're filming 11 hours and just kind of nonstop, and sure, they get their little breaks or whatever, but they're not very big breaks. There's a lot that you need to remember going into it as a housewife, because you're going to be addressed with everything that played out throughout the season, and then things that might come up that were behind the scenes that we didn't necessarily get to see. But, you know, Bravo can be shady sometimes, so they'll roll that tape, just like they're doing this reunion on Michael grabbing another butt of a producer. It's just, I feel like I can understand why Monique was able to maintain her composure, because when you show up with this Bravo Bible of a binder, yes, you know, it's like, okay, I don't have to get anxious. It's all right here. It's tabbed. It's color coded. I got it.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would definitely be a Monique at a reunion because I can't remember shit. So I definitely, I would have been like, oh yeah, but mine would not have been as classy and as you know, calm and composed. I would have still been kind of shaking in my boots, you know, revealing certain things. But yeah, I would have had to bring a binder myself. It was epic. And Andy said that it's going to go in the Housewives Museum, which is awesome.
I knew it. I feel like she's going to set the tone, and now all of the housewives are going to start coming with these binders, right, because it just makes sense. But right, one thing I do want to say real quick before we jump off of this Gizelle train, yeah, you know, Karen did try to call her out when they were in Portugal about, you know, the man who lives in her phone, and Gizelle was so quick to just shut her down. With Karen, Gizelle has that power, almost like, I'm top dog here, kind of sit down. And Karen still holds her own, but the rest of the women seem to rally behind Gizelle more than they do Karen. Whereas this instance, you know, when Monique comes out with the receipts, Karen was just like, okay, go on, girl, and then was jumping on in it with her because she knew she had the support. Right. It seemed like a much more confident Karen.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, you know, she asked the question, is Jamal going to be here? And Gizelle had to reply back, no. And it was just a pattern that we've seen throughout the season. You know, he missed the family photo shoot, and he was apparently getting a manicure done. You know, he felt like that was more important. And it really, really sucks. But yeah, I mean, even up into the reunion, Jamal was a no-show. Jamal has had this pattern. And I just don't understand. I don't understand. When are you going to show up for Gizelle? When are you going to prove that you're a changed man and you're not the man that she divorced? I mean, I just don't see where the love is. I don't.
So do you think this could have easily have been a business transaction? I mean, think about it. He gives her a storyline. Maybe she shows up and supports this new business, this restaurant. She kind of attaches her face to it, helps get it a little bit more publicity. They put it on the show. I mean, do you think there was some sort of transaction trade-off for him playing along with this storyline? Because why else would he?
I mean, I honestly, I don't speculate that far into it.
Okay.
I do think that Gizelle, I think that Gizelle loves him. I think that she really loves him. She loves comfortability. She loves, the fact that she's known him. She doesn't have to change who she is because, they both know each other in and out. But at the same time, I think that while they were trying to work on things and mend their relationship, if you will, I think that things kind of got lost in the sauce. I mean, I really feel like Jamal has not changed that much. I don't feel like he really changed that much. So, and the streets are talking. The streets are talking. So that lets you know everything that you need to know. I mean, even when it comes down to us at the Black Socialites, we've received information, about certain things. And I'm pretty sure other bloggers have received, bits of information. So it's just like, I don't know. But at the same time, it's just like, with him being the word on the street, if you will, why would you risk those kind of worms being open to the public? I don't know.
I always think about that whenever we see these different, of course, we all know what's going on right now on a different franchise of Beverly Hills with Erica Girardi and her legal battles. We've seen it with Teresa Giudice. We see all of these things come out when these people sell themselves and put themselves on a public platform. But it's like, are you not thinking of the ramification? Like, what you're doing behind the scenes that's not going to be on camera. And then people become super fans and they start digging and try to get as much stuff as they can on you.
Right. I mean, it's just odd. I just don't understand why someone would do that. But we see it on these reality shows all the time, like you said.
Well, somebody just said, Natalia, she said, I don't like that no one's talking about Candace disrespected Jamal's girlfriend by calling her out her name when Monique was talking about her.
Well, Candace, her typical pattern is to kind of call people out of their names. So that is not shocking. And that's probably why people are not talking about it, because we've seen that so much from Candace, where she calls people, different names, different dog whistles, triggers, if you will. And it just, we know what we're dealing with here. So, yeah.
So people aren't as surprised. No, yeah. That's fair. Ashley even addressed this kind of when, Andy asked the shady question about how I See You compares to, and I hate to be disrespectful, it's just slipping my mind right now, Ashley's song Coffee and Love or something like that. Andy asked, how does it compare? And Candace pretty much shuts it down and says, well, it doesn't compare because there's true vocals behind mine, and starts shading Ashley a little bit. But then it spirals this little riff going on.
Yeah, Andy kind of threw a wrench in there.
He knows what he's doing. He's been doing this long enough.
Andy's the king. He knows exactly what he's doing. But yeah, I mean, I love all of their songs. I love all of their songs. I think all of their songs are good. I really do. I really do.
Okay. Well, when they start going back and forth in the conversation, Ashley did point out the fact that Candace does have the ability to sometimes show a very nasty version of herself on Twitter or any form of social media. Like when she goes in, she goes in. I'm just curious, do you feel, and I always try to handle this with kid gloves because, and care. And grace, whatever you want to call it. I did an interview with Candace Diller Bassett, and I found her to be amazing. I thought she was such a sweetheart. She was nothing but sweet to me. And she was so positive in that moment. And that was the side I got from her. But then, when I did my interview with her, we were talking about 2020 and a lot of the Bravo firings that were going on with other franchises. And I asked her, I said, in your opinion, do you think that these people should be fired and held accountable for their words? And she was just, you know, dead set on, yes, absolutely, people need to be held accountable. And then it was like, boom, a month later, I see all of these headlines about, you know, Candace potentially going after these other bloggers and just other people in general. Again, this isn't a witch hunt, but my whole question was, is there a little bit of a hypocrisy there? Or, I mean, I just don't understand, because her going after people, I understand it's a part of her job to go kind of tit for tat on the show, but off the show, isn't there, or is there a line?
Of course there's a line. Yes, there's a line. There is definitely some hypocrisy there. That's obvious. You know, I don't know why her comments on Twitter and why her comments on her lives were disregarded. I don't know. I really feel like she needs to be held accountable in some way. And I mean, as far as like on TV, like there has to be some sort of repercussions for what she's saying. You know, I hate to get personal, but as you know, it's personal for me. You know,
Right.
said on Twitter, you know, okay, whatever. But what she said about my friend, Kyle, who has now passed, was just disgusting. You know, she wished death upon him. And I'm sorry, Adam, I have to just say that because it's factual. It
Right.
hurts. I'm still going through the grieving process. You know, 2 months after she said what she said, he passed away. And I'm not putting the death on her, but he did. That did cycle through his mind. That did resonate with him. He told one of the ladies, you know, maybe I should be dead, like she said. You know, maybe I should be dead. So it's just, words have power. You have to be careful.
With what you say.
And you have to choose your words wisely. I mean, we're all adults. I feel like she should definitely know better. And it came with no apology.
Right. Well, I want to say, one, of course, you know, on behalf of me and everybody in this room, we're so sorry for the passing of your friend, and just sending you all the love that way, because this, I mean, this was just such an awful situation. And I think you just said something really important here. I've never experienced it before until lately, you know, where I've been kind of, when you get attacked on a public platform and you have somebody who has a huge following and they start saying things about you and they start it affects you. Words affect you and they hurt. So you never know, I think, the ramifications of your words. But when you're on a public platform, and you have been for a few years now, you have the opportunity to get it right. And at this point, again, this is not a witch hunt or anything like that, but at this point, it's like, you should have this right, where you know, okay, this is for TV and this is real life, and you're affecting people's mental state.
Right. There's some sort of responsibility that has to be taken there. It just has to be. It has to be. You can't go around wishing death on people. You can't.
Right. Okay, well, I want to go ahead and change up the subject really quick. And not at all disregarding, but kind of bringing it back to the reunion, and maybe we can go into a little bit of a lighter topic for a second. By the way, 650 in the room. That's awesome. Guys, you guys are showing up for RJ. Look at you guys. Wow. Okay. So we talked about Gizelle, and I didn't even get to the fact that Karen was clowning Gizelle's house, calling it the Ronald McDonald house and all of that. But I want to move over to Dr. Wendy Osefo for a second, because when Andy kind of pointed out the fact that she mentioned her 4 degrees over and over and over again, she kind of shifted the focus over to Ashley Darby. And Ashley Darby looked at her and said, listen, I think that it's great that you have your 4 degrees, but I don't think it's great when you start to weaponize them against us and kind of engage in this aggressive behavior. Mm-hmm. And from that conversation, the word aggressive immediately went into the topic of colorism. This whole thing kind of just started spreading like wildfire. Do you have an opinion on Dr. Wendy Osefo?
Yes, I think that she is obviously a very accomplished lady. She is super smart, super smart. I really love what she stands for, as far as, you know, parents coming from being immigrants, coming to America, making a name for themselves, and her building upon that and becoming successful. I really, really love that. I love what she stands for as far as that. Yes.
Right. And she's our first Nigerian housewife, which was really fun because we got to see a lot of, her culture this season and how she is and why she is the way she is. So
Right.
she doesn't look at it as a bragging thing about her 4 degrees. She's just very proud because, in her culture, education is close to everything.
Yes, yes. And I feel like it's like that from my experience with, people that come over from Africa, our African brothers and sisters. From my experience, that is kind of like the essence of what I've gotten of, we're coming to America, we're going to, live this American dream, and we're going to be proud. We're going to be proud. And behind that is a lot of passion. So I respect it. I really think that she is a commendable human being. I really do.
Well, somebody just said, Tamara just said, colorism. I hope it's Tamara or Tamara. I don't want to butcher that, but your profile photo looks beautiful. She said, colorism, really? But yet Gizelle brought a bodyguard to see Monique. Dr. Osefo, use it in the right way.
Yeah.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, the whole colorism topic, especially in the African American community, is a very delicate, touchy subject. There's so many different layers. There's so many bends that a lot of people outside of it wouldn't be able to understand. It's super, super complex.
Right.
But I feel like there was a bit of hypocrisy when, when Wendy was saying, stop using these trigger words, and all of these dog whistles. She was throwing that energy out to Ashley, but sitting next to her, her friend Candace had also used different trigger words, ghetto and not my kind, and this is, blah, 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 and all the rest of the things that Candace says. I really felt like that was a bit of hypocrisy because sitting right there next to her was somebody who actually used those kind of that kind of language more than anyone else on the cast, and Wendy didn't address it. She didn't address it. So it's just like she's picking and choosing.
And that's kind of when you lose the argument, because as viewers,
right,
I mean, we can so obviously see that.
Right. You're picking and choosing. I would have been like, honey, you've also used these trigger words. You've also been there. And Ashley, please stop using these trigger words against me. Like, we have to stop this and end this in totality. Let's not just pick and choose.
No, I agree with you. And it was interesting to see Monique immediately started to chime in, and Dr. Wendy Osefo kind of just was like, I'm not talking to you, and kind of tried to brush her off. But Monique, out of everyone, I feel like she can speak on the topic of the word aggressive this season, only because she was the only one who was technically, aside from Candace, they were the only two who engaged in a physical altercation. So with Monique, she started to chime in saying, I feel like aggressive is aggressive. If you are portraying, like if you are engaging in an aggressive act, then you are aggressive. But she wasn't necessarily agreeing with what Dr. Wendy Osefo was saying, and how she's saying that Ashley's using it as a trigger word.
Right. You pin the action on the behavior. You don't pin the action on the color. Or in this realm, color, you don't pin the action on somebody's race, so to speak. You pin the action on the behavior. And I really think, Wendy said that she was getting all of these, different messages, and threats and stuff like that. I really think that she is not accustomed to dealing with, the colorism that goes on within the African American community. Her reactions let me know that she wasn't that was something that was sort of new to her. You know, African American women like Candace and like Monique that began to speak up, Monique especially, they've kind of been there before. They know what it is to be Black in America, you know, and that's why Monique started to speak up and say, hey, you know, this is what it is. It's not color, you know what I'm saying? Because we've been down that road as African Americans. We've been down that road. But when you come in and you're from different countries and you're Black and you experience these things, it's a new territory.
Wow. You know, I have to say really quick for anyone who's watching, and we have almost 800 people in the room. So that's amazing. Guys, hit that like button. Thank you. It's so nice to be able to have a conversation and kind of like, I feel like I'm learning a lot from you right now. And it's handled, like you said, there's so many layers to these different topics that we're addressing or that they're addressing on the Real Housewives of Potomac. And sometimes, you know, some of us can be ignorant to some of these topics if we haven't experienced it, you know, so it's nice to have a fresh perspective and be able to have just an easy conversation. And like I said, I feel like I'm learning a lot here. So
good.
Yeah. Someone just said, Tamara just said, I don't like the fact that Adam and RJ, that aggressive shout not be used by Ashley when she had a knife thrown at her.
What was it?
She said, I did not like the fact that aggressive shout not be used but by Ashley when she had a knife thrown at her. Oh, okay. So they're saying that pretty much this is a hypocritical situation because.
Yes. I mean, I feel like hypocrisy, #hypocrisy has been used so much in our interview because there is a lot of it going on. You know what I'm saying? That's just one more situation where she was super aggressive towards Ashley. And it was facts. What do you want us to say? How do you want us to substitute these words? She was up in that lady's face with a butter knife. She was tapping it on the table. She had to be calmed and grabbed by her husband and sat down. You know what I'm saying? And even as the last episode, she's at a party and she's kind of like fueled up and ready to hop on Ashley from what it looked like. I mean, what do you want us to call it? What do you want us to say? How do we substitute words for actions that are clear to us? It's clear to us. There's no way of getting around it. I'm sorry.
Right. So you're saying it is what it is. When you're lashing out or you're waving around a knife or you're doing X, Y, and Z, that is aggressive.
What it is. You know what I'm saying? Everything does not have to be about race. If I see anyone tapping a butter knife on the table and putting it in somebody's face in a threatening manner, I'm going to say, whoa, oh boy, that is an aggressive person.
No, I agree with you. Oh, okay. And we're only on part 1 of the 3 parts. This reunion is about to just get more insane. RJ, I just want us really quick for the viewers who are watching. Yeah. You know, when I reached out to you and we started kind of talking back and forth, I noticed that you're friends with Monique, and I brought up a photo. I hope you don't mind. I just want to put it up real quick.
Oh.
Yeah.
Done.
Where was this at? This was on the set of Monique's song Drag Queens?
Yes. Look behind us. What do you see? Do you see something familiar behind us?
Her fish tank?
Uh-huh.
So you're at her house?
Yes.
Okay, so now may I ask you, for any of us who are kind of living under a rock and we don't know your background or your history, how are you kind of integrated into the Real Housewives of Potomac? Like, how do you know these women, and which women do you actually know?
Okay, so first of all, DMV, which stands for Maryland, Virginia, it's small, and when you're on the scene here, you kind of know everybody, and because you know, I was partnered with Kyle with doing the Black Socialites, it became even smaller because the Black Socialites was geared towards, it was kind of like, okay, now you guys know the Real Housewives of Potomac, but there's other ladies out here that are doing it and that are of Black excellence. So we started to present them on our page. And so that made things even smaller because the ladies who we would present to everybody on the page, you know, we started to build relationships with them. And then it just, you know, kind of became integrated. But I would say that I'm closest with Monique. Definitely closest with Monique. I met Monique at the season 2 premiere of The Housewives of Potomac when she was just entering in, and I hadn't seen anything of her. You know, this was before it even aired. So, and we just chatted it up. You know, we laughed, and I just told her, I said, "You're a star." I said, "You are a star." I said, "Watch and see." And here we are.
Here we are. And hopefully, you know, that I love this story, by the way. I can't really ever come on here and talk about it, but, you know, I just recently, by the way, I'm getting a little scattered. My fiance is also from the DMV area.
Oh,
yeah. But I just moved to South Florida, kind of back closer towards like Palm Beach, Miami area from Los Angeles. And when I was living in LA, I was a little bit indirectly under the Bravo umbrella because I worked for one of the housewives for the longest time. And my fiance worked for her. And it's interesting because like you're saying how DMV is a small area, you know, for us, we started feeling the same thing about West Hollywood and that community that we were in. It's like you start learning who everybody is, you start seeing the same faces, you start building these relationships, and you kind of start to feel like you're in this little bubble.
Yes.
Which
yes.
is,
yeah,
I guess what you can relate to.
Yes, I can definitely relate to that. Honestly, yes. So I mean, it's interesting. You know, they're just people. They're just people. We all have to step out there and be at, you know, certain events and do certain things, and you know, they're just people. That's it.
I agree with you. I agree, and you know, I think we covered kind of like the most interesting topics from this part 1 of the reunion. And I know that they gave us a little bit of a 1-minute teaser where we see what's coming up for the second part. We see where Andy finally starts addressing this Candace Monique altercation. We see where Chris Samuels is pretty heated because he feels like they're starting, like the women had a plot to kind of go after his family, which I've never seen Chris this kind of, or unless this is clever editing, I've never seen Chris this upset.
Back just 1 sec on that. It is not clever editing. Go ahead.
Okay. No, see, I mean, you would know, and I appreciate that. A lot of people responded to the fact that Monique said when Andy's talking to her about this whole dragging situation, a lot of people responded when she was like, you know, if I was getting fired, I was going to go finish her off. And everybody was like, what? And then we see Candace get up and get upset and walk off set. But people were hopeful when she said, if I were to get fired, I was going to go over there and finish her off. Now people are like, oh, are we getting Monique back? And I know you can't spoil anything for us if you do or don't know, but I for one am hopeful that we get Monique back. And if we don't get Monique back, then I think that there's a couple other names on this list that need to be held accountable and also kicked off the show, especially if she is.
Let me just say this. Monique is a queen, and queens move on their own timing.
I feel like I need to decode that.
Queens move on their own timing.
Okay. And
download that Queens, by the way, Monique's new song. Yes.
I listened to it. I was like, oh, you're so shady listening to it. I'm like, this. I love the fact that, you know, for the most part, we can get simple, fun shade from the housewives. Of course, like this season, you do, or you might have a moment where you might get mollywopped or whatever we call it. I don't know, like grabbed, snatched, mollywopped.
I was not ready for the mollywop. I'm sorry.
No, I learned that on here. I was talking to somebody on a live and they're like, yeah, Candace got mollywopped. I said, what is mollywopped? And they said exactly what happened when you reach over the table and you grab and you mollywop them. And I was like, where did that come from?
That's a socking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, moving on, before we wrap this up, is there something that you're looking forward to most on the second part, or maybe even the third part of the reunion? Some sort of resolve or conflict that you want to be addressed? I mean, what are you the most excited about?
Monique's vindication.
Okay.
Monique's vindication.
Okay. Hey.
Want to really see, hear, feel, and then make their decisions.
Okay. And you know, that's funny because that's the same thing that Candace said to me before the season actually premiered. She said, I asked her, I said, whose side am I, or whose side are we going to take as viewers? And she's like, watch the season and then call me after and you let me know. And now after the season played, of course, and then other things came out, I'm like, I don't want to call anybody. I just have my own opinions at this point. But okay, Monique's vindication. And lastly, before I let you go, RJ, I want to say again, thank you so much. Got almost 940 in the room. Guys, hit that like button. RJ, have you seen the Bravo Bible binder in person?
I have not.
Okay.
I could have said yes, but I have not. And I got my own little flimsy binder here, but it's nothing compared to the Monique binder, the legendary going down in Bravo, into the Bravo Museum binder. No, not yet, but I will.
Okay, you will. Well, I know that you're a super busy guy, RJ. Wow, this 40-minute conversation went on so fast.
It did, but it's very fun, very fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious, and I'm sure you have to check your schedule, but I would love to finish out the reunion with you if you're around and you have availability on Mondays or Tuesdays. I say we jump on and do part 2 and 3. This was great.
I would love to. Love to.
And I promise I'll switch up my fashion. That way I can compete with you a little bit. I'll do something. I'll get a sequin shirt. I have a gold one. I can pull something out.
Look, Adam, okay, let's switch. Next time, I'm coming in the black shirt. You come in the gold.
Okay, I'll come in. Hey, don't hit me with a good time.
I can't keep this up.
I'm not going to have a spinny chair, but that's okay. I'll switch it up and I'll do the gold just for you. I promise.
I will love all of it. All of it. I love it. Yes.
Well, and you know, before we go, where can we find you, RJ?
So yes, go and find me on Instagram, RJ.Allan. So Allan is ALLAN. So again, RJ.ALLAN on Instagram.
I love that. And everybody, make sure you guys go follow RJ. This was such a great conversation. Also, RJ is a part of the Black Socialites. He has a lot of great insight. He's a part of a great team. I can't thank you enough. This was fantastic. And this went above my expectations of this conversation. I didn't really have it. I just knew that it was going to be a great conversation because I've watched you on your Instagram and I knew we were going to get along and that you have a great energy. But this, again, was so much better than what I was anticipating.
Thanks.
So thank you.
You're terrific.
All right. We'll see you next time, RJ.
Bye, guys. Bye, Adam. Thanks.
Bye. Bye, guys.